The ship sat in the corner of Nexira Station like a forgotten toy. It was old. It was broken. It was covered in rust and holes. 400 years ago, the Stellaris Vorn had been the most feared warship in 3-star systems. Now it was nothing but a joke. Captain Elena Vasquez stood in the busy station market and looked up at the ship through the big viewing window. Around her, aliens of every shape and size walked past. Some had 4 arms. Some floated in the air. Some were made of living crystal. All of them ignored the old ship in Dock 17. "That thing?" said a voice behind her. "You are looking at that thing?" Alina turned around. A tall alien with blue skin and 6 eyes was staring at her. His name was Merchant Kovacs, and he sold ships to anyone with enough credits. "Yes," Alina said. "I want to buy it." Kovacs made a sound that might have been a laugh. "The Stellaris Vorn. Human. That ship has been sitting there for 60 years. No one wants it. The engines are dead. The weapons were taken long ago. The hull has more holes than metal." "How much?" Alina asked. Kovacs looked at her like she was crazy. 17,000 credits. "But I am telling you, human, you are throwing away your money. That ship will never fly again." Alina pulled out her credit chip. "I will take it." The news spread across Nexera Station in minutes. The humans had bought the Stellaris Vorn. The humans had actually paid money for that piece of junk. By the time Alina walked back to her shuttle, she could hear the laughter following her through the corridors. Ambassador Voroth of the Sindari Collective was waiting at her shuttle bay. He was a powerful alien with silver scales and teeth like needles. The Sindari controlled half the galaxy's trade routes, and they did not like humans. Captain Vasquez Vorath said, his voice full of amusement, "I heard about your purchase. I had to come see for myself if it was true." "It is true," Alina said calmly. "The Stellaris Vorn." Vorath shook his head slowly. "Do you know the history of that ship? It was the pride of the Kethvari Empire. It destroyed whole fleets. And now it cannot even power its own lights." "I know its history," Alina said. "Then why?" Vorath stepped closer, his eyes studying her face. "Your species has been in space for only 50 years. You have no real ships, no real weapons, no real technology. And now you buy a 400-year-old wreck? What is your plan, human? To fix it with tape and hope?" Alina smiled. "Something like that," Vorath laughed. It was not a kind laugh. "I will send a message to every system in the Coalition. They should know that the humans are playing pretend again. Perhaps next time you want to join our defensive coalition, you will bring something better than dreams." He walked away, still laughing. Alina watched him go. Then she activated her communicator. "Dr. Chen, are you there?" "I am here, Captain." The voice belonged to Marcus Chen, her chief engineer. He was waiting on the shuttle with the rest of her small crew. "We got the ship," Alina said. "They are going to tow it to Earth orbit tomorrow." "Excellent." Chen sounded excited. "I have been looking at the old blueprints. The basic structure is still good. The Kethvari built things to last. Can we do it?" Alina asked quietly. "Can we really turn that wreck into what we need?" There was a pause. "Captain, the galaxy thinks they know everything about physics. They think they know what is possible and what is not possible. But they stopped asking questions a long time ago. They found answers that worked, and they stopped looking for better ones. And us." Chen laughed softly. "We never stopped asking questions. We have 50 years of research that every other species called impossible. Negative mass experiments, quantum probability fields, dimensional folding theory. They laughed at all of it." "They are still laughing," Alina said. "Let them laugh. In 18 months, they will not be laughing anymore." Alina boarded her shuttle and looked out the window one last time at Nexira Station. She could see aliens pointing at her ship and making jokes. She could see news screens already showing the story of the stupid humans and their worthless purchase. Back on Earth, she knew people were watching too. Humanity had joined the galactic community 50 years ago, and every year since then had been a struggle. Other species had thousands of years of technology. They had empires that spanned hundreds of worlds. They had weapons that could crack planets and shields that could stop stars. Humans had none of that. They were the newcomers. The children. The species that everyone patted on the head and told to wait their turn. But Alina knew something the galaxy did not know. Humans were different. Not because they were stronger or smarter, but because they refused to accept the word impossible. When the Sindari said negative mass could not exist, human scientists found a way to create it in a lab. When the Kethvari said quantum probability was useless for travel, human mathematicians proved them wrong. When the Voidwalkers said dimensional folding would destroy any ship that tried it, human engineers figured out how to make it safe. All of this research was secret. All of it was hidden. The galaxy thought humans were weak and foolish. They did not know about the underground labs. They did not know about the brilliant minds working day and night. They did not know about Project Prometheus. As the shuttle flew toward Earth, Alina opened her personal tablet. There was a message waiting from Galactic Command. She already knew what it said before she read it. Your application to join the Defensive Coalition has been denied. Reason: insufficient technological contribution. Humanity does not meet the minimum requirements for membership. It was the 5th time they had been rejected. 5 times, humanity had asked to join the alliance that protected civilized space. 5 times they had been told they were not good enough. Alina deleted the message. Then she opened a new file and started writing her report. Project Prometheus is now active. We have acquired the vessel. Estimated time to completion, 18 months. When we are done, the galaxy will see what humans can really do. She looked out the window at the stars. Somewhere out there, Ambassador Vorath was sending his mocking message to every corner of the coalition. Somewhere out there, aliens were laughing at the foolish humans and their broken ship. Alina smiled. Let them laugh. Let them mock. Let them think humans were nothing. They would learn the truth soon enough. The old ship hung in space, above Earth like a sleeping giant. Scaffolding surrounded it from every side. Lights flashed day and night as hundreds of workers crawled over its surface. The Stellaris Vorn was getting a new life. Dr. Marcus Chen stood on the observation deck of Armstrong Shipyard, watching his team's work. He had not slept in 2 days. He had barely eaten, but he could not look away from the ship that was slowly becoming something impossible. Status report, Captain Elena Vasquez said, walking up beside him with 2 cups of coffee. Chen took the cup gratefully. The hull replacement is at 70%. We finished removing the old Kethvari armor yesterday. The new plating should be installed by next week. The Mobius hull, Elena said softly. Yes. Chen's eyes lit up when he talked about the technology. It took us 30 years to figure out how to make it work. The plating exists slightly outside of normal space and time. Sensors will not be able to see it properly. Weapons will pass right through it. For everyone else, our ship will be like a ghost. Alina nodded slowly. And the engines. Chen smiled. It was the smile of a man who knew he was doing the impossible. The quantum probability drive is already installed. We tested it last week. It works, Alina. It actually works. Explain it to me again, Elena said. I need to understand what we are putting into our ship. Chen turned away from the window and pulled up a holographic display. It showed a simple diagram of a ship and 2 points in space. Normal ships move from point A to point B, he said. They travel through the space between. It takes time. It uses fuel. The faster you want to go, the more energy you need. And our drive. Our drive does not move the ship at all. Chen pointed at the diagram. Instead, it changes probability. Right now the ship is at point A. The chance of it being at point B is almost 0. Our drive changes those numbers. It makes point B the most likely location for the ship to exist. Lena frowned. So the ship just appears there? In a way, yes. The universe itself moves the ship because the universe wants things to be in their most probable state. We just convince it that our destination is where the ship should be. The Sindari would say that is impossible. The Sindari stopped looking for new answers 2,000 years ago. Chan shrugged. They found technology that worked, and they never asked if there was something better. We did. Over the next 6 months, more impossible technology was installed into the ship. The old weapons were removed and replaced with paradox cannons. These weapons fired projectiles that existed in multiple states at the same time. A single shot could be in 10 different places at once. Shields could not block something when they did not know where it really was. The ship's computer was upgraded with 3 artificial intelligence systems working together. They could make calculations faster than any alien technology. They could predict enemy movements before they happened. They could find weaknesses that no one else could see, but the work was not easy. Problems appeared every day. Systems that worked in the lab failed when installed in the ship. Theories that looked perfect on paper fell apart in reality. The team worked through failure after failure, fixing each problem as it came. Alina visited the shipyard every week. She watched the ship change from a rusted wreck into something beautiful and terrifying. The old hull was gone, replaced by smooth plates that seemed to shimmer like they were not quite real. The engines glowed with a soft blue light that hurt to look at directly. Even standing still, the ship looked fast. "We need a new name," Alina said one day. Chen looked up from his work. "What do you mean?" The Stellaris Vorn was a Kethvari warship. "This is not that ship anymore. This is something new. Something human." Chen thought for a moment. What about Defiance? Alina tested the word. Defiance. The UES Defiance. Fits, Chen said. We are defying everything the galaxy thinks they know. We are defying physics itself. The name was approved the next day. As the months passed, the galaxy continued to laugh at humanity. News programs showed pictures of the old wreck and made jokes about human foolishness. Ambassador Vorath gave interviews where he called the project a waste of time. Other species sent messages of false sympathy, pretending to feel sorry for the poor, humans, and their broken dreams, but some aliens were starting to pay attention. Galactic Intelligence, the spy network that served the Coalition, began receiving strange reports from Earth. Ships that flew past the Armstrong shipyard noticed something wrong with their sensors. Readings that made no sense. Energy signatures that contradicted themselves. The Coalition sent observers. 3 Sindari scientists arrived at Earth orbit with the most advanced scanning equipment in the galaxy. They pointed their instruments at the shipyard and tried to understand what the humans were building. Their equipment broke, not just failed, broke. Sparks flew from their machines. Screens showed impossible numbers. One device simply melted, unable to process data that should not exist. The scientists returned to Sindari space with their broken equipment and their impossible readings. They wrote a report that said only one thing: the humans are doing something we do not understand. Ambassador Vorath read the report 3 times. For the first time since the humans had arrived in the galaxy, he did not laugh. He did not smile. He sat in his office and stared at the words on his screen. Something was wrong. The humans were not supposed to be able to do this. They were newcomers. Children, they did not have the knowledge or the history to create technology that confused Sindari scientists. And yet they had. Vorath picked up his communicator and called an emergency meeting of the Coalition Council. Whatever the humans were building, the galaxy needed to know about it. But it was already too late. In Earth orbit, the UES Defiance powered up its systems for the first time. Every light came on. Every engine hummed with power. Every weapon charged and ready. Captain Alina Vasquez sat in the command chair and looked at the view screen. The stars looked different from up here. They looked like possibilities waiting to happen. All systems online, Chen reported from the engineering station. The ship is ready, Captain, Alina smiled. 18 months of work. 18 months of secrets. 18 months of being laughed at by the entire galaxy. The laughing was about to stop. Set course for the Rillian system, Alina ordered. There are people there who need our help. It is time to show the galaxy what humanity can really do. The Defiance vanished from Earth's orbit in a flash of blue light, leaving nothing behind but confused sensors and impossible readings. The ghost ship had been born. The Rillian people had been prisoners on their own world for 30 years. The Vayner hegemony had come with their warships and their soldiers and their cruelty. They had taken everything: food, resources, freedom, hope. 400 Vayner warships surrounded the planet in a wall of metal and fire. No ship could get in. No ship could get out. The blockade was perfect. It was unbreakable. Every species in the galaxy knew this. The Rillians were dying slowly. Their children went hungry. Their old ones got sick without medicine. Every year, more of them faded away while the galaxy watched and did nothing. On Nexera Station, Rillian refugees gathered in the lower decks where no one wanted to live. They had escaped before the blockade closed. Now they could only watch from far away as their families suffered. Then the humans came. The news spread through the refugee camp like fire. A human ship was going to challenge the blockade. One ship against 400? It was madness. It was suicide. But it was also hope. Grandmother Lissa was 112 years old. She had been a child when the Vayner first came. She had seen her world fall. Now she sat in the refugee camp and listened to the young ones argue. "The humans are fools," said one. "They will die and nothing will change." "At least they are trying," said another. "No one else has even tried." Grandmother Lissa said nothing. She just looked up at the stars and wondered if she would see her homeworld again before she died. Far away. The used Defiance dropped out of quantum space at the edge of the Rillian system. Captain Elena Vasquez stood on her bridge and looked at the view screen. 400 red dots surrounded the planet like angry insects. "Captain," said Lieutenant Torres at the tactical station, "the Vayner fleet has detected us. They are sending a message. Put it on screen." The view screen changed to show a face that made Elena's skin crawl. High Commander Threx of the Vayner hegemony had scales like dried blood and eyes like black holes. His teeth were sharp and yellow. When he spoke, his voice was like rocks grinding together. Threx laughed. It was an ugly sound. "The humans send one ship? I had heard your species was stupid, but this is beyond anything I imagined." Elena kept her face calm. "High Commander, I am Captain Elena Vasquez of the United Earthship Defiance. We are here on a humanitarian mission. We are carrying food and medicine for the Rillian people." Humanitarian. Threx leaned forward, his eyes narrow. "There is nothing humanitarian about what is going to happen to you, human. Turn your ship around now, and I will give you a quick death. Continue forward, and I will make your end last for days." Elena did not look away from his terrible face. "I am afraid I cannot do that, High Commander. Those people need help, and we are going to help them." Threx stared at her for a long moment. Then he started laughing again. "You have courage, human. Stupid courage, but courage. Very well. Come and die." The screen went dark. "All hands," Elena announced over the ship's speakers, battle stations. "We are going in." Round her, the bridge crew moved with quiet efficiency. They were scared. She could see it in their eyes. But they did not run. They did not hesitate. They were human, and humans did not give up. Dr. Chen, Elena said, "Activate the Mobius hull." "Activating now, Captain." The ship hummed. The lights flickered for just a moment. And then the Defiance disappeared. Not really disappeared. The ship was still there, but to every sensor in the system, it was suddenly invisible. The 400 Vayner warships lost their target in an instant. High Commander Threx stared at his empty screens. "What? Where did they go?" "Find them." His officers scrambled to adjust their sensors. Nothing worked. The human ship had been there a moment ago. Now there was nothing but empty space. "Fire!" Threx screamed. Fire at their last position. 400 ships opened fire at once. Plasma beams cut through space. Missiles streaked toward where the Defiance had been. The firepower could have destroyed a small moon. It hit nothing. The Defiance was already moving. Elena watched on her view screen as the Vayner fire passed harmlessly through the space behind them. The Mobius hull was working perfectly. The ship existed, just slightly outside normal reality. The enemy could not see it. Their weapons could not touch it. "Helm," Alina ordered. "Take us into the fleet." "Combat protocol, go stance." The Defiance flew straight into the middle of 400 enemy ships. It moved between them like a shadow, like a whisper, like something from a nightmare. The Vayner could not see it coming. They could not stop it. "Paradox cannons ready," Lieutenant Torres reported. "Fire at will. Target engines and weapons only. No killing unless necessary." The Paradox cannon spoke. Each shot existed in multiple places at once, making it impossible to block. Vayner shields flickered and failed. Engines exploded. Weapons went dark. Ship after ship fell silent. Not destroyed, just disabled. The Defiance did not kill. It simply took away the enemy's ability to fight. High Commander Threx watched in horror as his fleet fell apart around him. His officers screamed reports at him. 30 ships disabled. 50, 100. 200? What is happening? Threx grabbed one of his officers. "How are they doing this?" "We do not know, Commander. Our sensors show nothing. It is like fighting a ghost." 47 minutes. That was how long it took. 47 minutes for one human ship to defeat 400 Vayner warships? When it was over, the Great Blockade was nothing but drifting metal. Not one enemy ship could move or fight. Not one human had died. The Defiance descended through the clear space, toward Relia Prime. On the surface, the starving people looked up at the sky and saw something they had not seen in 30 years. A ship that was not Vayner. A ship that had come to help. Alina opened a channel to the planet. "People of Relia, this is Captain Alina Vasquez of the United Earth ship Defiance. We have brought food and medicine. We are here to help." For a moment there was silence. Then the voices came. Thousands of voices. Crying, laughing, thanking, praising. The supplies were delivered in 6 hours. Enough food for 3 months. Medicine for the sick. Hope for everyone. As the Defiance prepared to leave, one small voice came through the communication system. It was a child, speaking words she had probably been practicing. "Thank you, humans. Thank you for saving us." Elena felt tears in her eyes. "You are welcome, little one. Stay strong. Things are going to get better." The Defiance rose into the sky and vanished into quantum space. Behind them, High Commander Threx floated in an escape pod, watching his ruined fleet drift past his window. He had been the most feared commander in the hegemony. He had crushed rebellions. He had conquered worlds. He had never lost a battle until today. He activated his emergency transmitter and sent a message to Hegemony Command. The message was short. It was terrifying. "We have a problem. The humans have something we cannot fight. Send everything."
On next station.
Grandmother Lissa watched the news reports with tears streaming down her face. One human ship. One small ship against an empire, and her people were finally free. She looked up at the stars and smiled. "Thank you," she whispered. "Thank you for not forgetting us." The news of the Vayner defeat spread across the galaxy like a shockwave. Every news channel showed the same images. 400 warships drifting helplessly in space, the feared blockade broken in less than an hour. And at the center of it all, one human ship that no one could explain. The great powers of the galaxy were afraid. They had spent thousands of years building their empires on the belief that they understood how the universe worked. Now a young species had done something that should have been impossible. Ambassador Voroth called for an emergency summit on the neutral world of Crucible. It was a place where enemies could meet without fear. A place where the galaxy's most powerful species came to make decisions that affected billions of lives. This time, it came to decide what to do about humanity. The meeting chamber was enormous. It was carved from the black rock of Crucible itself, with a ceiling so high it disappeared into shadow. Seats rose in circles around a central stage, like a great bowl. Every seat was filled. The Sindari Collective sent their full council. 15 silver-scaled beings who controlled half the galaxy's trade routes. The Kethvari Empire sent their War Master, a massive figure covered in battle scars and medals. The Voidwalkers sent a single representative, a being made of shadow and whispers who had not spoken in public for 300 years. 14 other species filled the remaining seats. All the great powers, all the ancient civilizations, all of them worried about the same thing. Ambassador Vorath stood at the center of the stage and waited for silence. His silver scales reflected the cold lights of the chamber. "We all know why we are here," Vorath began. His voice carried to every corner of the great room. "The humans have done something impossible. They have built technology that violates the fundamental laws of physics. Their ship defeated 400 Vayner warships without taking a single hit." Murmurs spread through the chamber. Everyone had seen the reports. Everyone was disturbed by them. "I have spoken with our best scientists," Vorath continued. "They cannot explain what they saw. The human ship appeared and disappeared at will. Their weapons could not be blocked. Their hull could not be damaged. It was like fighting smoke." The Kethvari War Master slammed his massive fist on his seat. "Then we must act now, before they build more of these ghost ships. Before they become a threat, we cannot stop." "I agree," said a Sindari council member. "The humans have been in space for only 50 years. If they can do this now, what will they do in 100 years? In 1,000? They will replace us," another voice called. "They will make us weak. They will take everything we have built." The chamber erupted in argument. Species who had hated each other for centuries suddenly agreed. The humans were dangerous. The humans had to be stopped. The humans could not be allowed to continue. War Master Crag of the Kethvari stood up, his voice drowning out all others. "I propose a joint fleet. 5,000 ships from every major power. We go to Earth. We destroy their shipyards. We take their technology. And we make sure they never threaten us again." The chamber fell silent. 5,000 ships. It would be the largest fleet ever assembled. It would be enough to crack a planet. Vorath nodded slowly. "We will vote." All in favor of the great doors at the back of the chamber opened. Every head turned. Every eye focused on the single figure walking down the long aisle toward the stage. She wore a simple uniform. She carried no weapons. She was alone, Captain Alina Vasquez of the United Earth ship. Defiance walked into the most powerful gathering in the galaxy like she belonged there. "The humans were not invited to this summit," Vorath said coldly. "I know," Alina replied. She did not stop walking until she stood at the center of the stage, surrounded by beings who wanted to destroy her species. "But I thought you might want to hear what we have to say before you vote to kill us." The War Master laughed. "What could you possibly say, human? We have seen what your ship can do. We know you are a threat." Alina turned to face him. She was tiny compared to his massive form, but her eyes did not show fear. "You are right," she said. "We are a threat. Our technology frightens you. I understand. But before you decide to destroy us, I want to ask you something." She looked around the chamber, meeting the eyes of every species. "Why did we build the Defiance? Why did we spend 18 months creating something impossible? What do you think we wanted?" "Power," Vorath answered. "Conquest. The same things every species wants." Alina shook her head. "No, we built the Defiance because we were tired of being told we were not good enough. For 50 years we have asked to join your coalition. For 50 years, you have rejected us. You called us children. You called us foolish. You laughed at us." She paused, letting the words sink in. "The Defiance was supposed to prove that you were wrong about us. It was supposed to show that humans have something to offer. We did not build it to conquer anyone. We built it because we wanted your respect." "Pretty words," the War Master growled. "But words do not change what you can do with that ship." Alina nodded. She reached into her pocket and pulled out a small device. She activated it, and a holographic display appeared in the air. It showed detailed plans for the Defiance. Every system, every technology, every secret, here Alina said. "Take it." The chamber went absolutely silent. "This is everything," Alina continued. "The quantum probability drive, the Mobius hull, the paradox cannons, all of it. I am giving it to you freely. Voreth stared at her like she had gone insane. You are giving us your greatest weapons? Why? Because we do not want to be your enemies. Lena placed the device on the stage. We want to be your partners, your allies, your friends. She turned slowly, speaking to the entire chamber. Humanity has something that most of your species lost a long time ago. We still ask questions. We still look for better answers. We still believe that impossible just means no one has figured it out yet. That is what we can offer you. Not weapons, not war. Ideas, imagination, a new way of seeing things. She pointed at the holographic plans. Take our technology. Study it. But also think about working with us. Think about what we could build together if we stopped being afraid of each other. For a long moment, no one spoke. The chamber was frozen in shock. Then the Voidwalker representative rose from its seat. It was a being of shadow and mystery. It had not spoken in public for 300 years. Now its voice filled the chamber like wind through empty halls. The human speaks truth. Every being in the room turned to stare at the ancient creature. Long ago, we were like the humans. We asked questions. We dreamed of impossible things. We reached for stars we could not see. Then we grew old. We grew comfortable. We stopped reaching. The Voidwalker moved closer to the stage, its shadowy form flickering. The humans remind us of what we used to be. They see possibilities where we see only limits. To destroy them would be to destroy the best part of ourselves. It reached out and touched the holographic display. We accept the human offer. We will work with them. One by one, other delegations began to stand. The crystalline beings of the Arcathy Federation. The ancient machine intelligences of the core worlds, species who had been enemies for centuries, all standing together. Ambassador Voreth looked around the chamber. He saw the tide turning. He saw fear becoming curiosity. He saw hatred becoming hope. Slowly, reluctantly, he nodded. The Sindari Collective will participate in this ... partnership. But know this, human. He stepped closer to Alina, his silver scales gleaming. If you betray us, if this is a trick, if you use what you know to hurt us, we will not, Alina said simply. We are not like you. We do not want to rule anyone. We just want to explore, to discover, to be part of something bigger than ourselves. She picked up the data device and offered it to Voreth. Partners? Voreth hesitated. Then he took the device. Partners. As Alina walked out of the chamber, she could feel the eyes of the galaxy on her back. She had come alone to face 5,000 ships worth of anger. She had left with something better than victory. She had left with hope. 5 years had passed since the Crucible Summit. 5 years of sharing. 5 years of building. 5 years of species who had once been enemies becoming something closer to family. The Unity sat in the heart of the great shipyard, a station that orbited between 3 stars. It was the largest ship ever built. It was also the most beautiful. Its hull gleamed with materials from a dozen worlds. Its engines combined technology from every major civilization. Its crew came from everywhere. Admiral Alina Vesquez stood on the observation deck and watched the final preparations. She was older now. Her hair had streaks of gray. The lines on her face told stories of battles fought and friendships won, but her eyes still held the same fire they always had. It is hard to believe, said a voice beside her. She turned to find Ambassador Voreth standing there. The Sindari diplomat had changed too. His silver scales had dulled slightly with age, and his posture was less stiff than before. They had become friends over the years. Real friends. What is hard to believe? Alina asked. Voreth gestured at the ship. All of this. 5 years ago, I wanted to destroy your species. Now we are building a ship together to explore the unknown. If someone had told me this would happen, I would have called them insane. Alina smiled. The universe is full of surprises. Yes. Voreth was quiet for a moment. I never thanked you properly. For what you did at the summit. You could have used your technology to dominate us. Instead, You chose peace. We did not want to rule anyone, Alina said. We just wanted a chance to show what we could do. You certainly did that. Orath shook his head slowly. The research teams have been working with your scientists for 5 years, and they are still amazed every day. Your people think differently. You ask questions that would never occur to us. And your people have knowledge that took thousands of years to gather. We could never have built the Unity without it. The ship they had created was a marvel. The Sindari had contributed their advanced computers and navigation systems. The Kethvari had designed the weapons and shields. The Voidwalkers had given their understanding of space itself, knowledge so old that no one remembered where it came from, and humans had tied it all together with their impossible ideas. The Unity had systems that should not work, but did. It could travel faster than any ship in history. It could see things that were invisible to normal sensors. It could go places that had been forbidden since before recorded. History places like the boundary. The boundary was the edge of known space. Beyond it, sensors returned only noise. Every probe sent across had vanished. Ancient civilizations had placed warning beacons around it, markers that said, "Do not cross in 100 dead languages." No one knew what was on the other side. No one had ever come back to tell until now. The Unity was going to cross the boundary. It was going to find out what the universe had been hiding. Admiral Vasquez took her place on the bridge. It was a circular room with stations arranged around a central command chair. Each station was designed for a different species. Sindari navigation, Kethvari weapons, Arkathi communications, and beside her at the engineering station sat Dr. Marcus Chen. You know, Chen said, I never thought I would be doing this. When we bought that old wreck on Nixira Station, I imagined many things. But not this. Alina laughed softly. Neither did I, but here we are. The rest of the crew took their positions. Lieutenant Torres at Tactical, a Voidwalker navigator whose name was a sound no human could pronounce. A young Kethvari officer at Weapons who had never known a time when his people and humans were not allies. All stations report, Alina ordered. One by one, the reports came in. All systems were ready. All crew were at their posts. The Unity was prepared for whatever waited beyond the edge of the known. Open a channel to the fleet, Lena said. The view screen changed to show the hundreds of ships that had gathered to watch the departure. Representatives from every species in the galaxy had come to see this moment. After centuries of fear and isolation, the galaxy was finally reaching for the unknown together. This is Admiral Elena Vasquez of the Unity, she said. For thousands of years, the boundary has stood at the edge of our knowledge. We do not know what lies beyond. We do not know if we will return. But we go anyway, because that is what it means to be alive. To be curious, to reach for things we cannot see. She paused, looking at her mixed crew. Humans came to the galaxy as outsiders. We were mocked. We were dismissed. We were told we did not belong. Today, we travel to the unknown, not as humans alone, but as representatives of every species that had the courage to dream. She turned back to the view screen. Whatever we find together. Unity out. The channel closed. Alina took a deep breath. Helm, take us to the boundary. The Unity moved forward. The gathered fleet watched as the great ship sailed toward the edge of everything they knew. As it approached the boundary, reality itself seemed to change. The stars ahead flickered. Space bent and twisted. Warning signals screamed from every sensor. The boundary is directly ahead, the navigator reported. Its voice was calm despite the chaos on the screens. Alina gripped the arms of her command chair. Every instinct told her to turn back. Every warning said this was impossible. But humans had made a career of ignoring impossible. Take us through, she ordered. The Unity crossed the boundary. For a moment everything was light and noise and confusion. The ship shook. The lights flickered. Chen grabbed his console to keep from falling. Then everything went still. The view screen cleared. The crew looked up, and every being on the bridge gasped. Before them stretched structures. Massive structures. Stations the size of moons floating in the darkness. networks of tubes and platforms connecting them across distances that should have been impossible. All of it cold. All of it silent. All of it waiting. "What is this?" Torres whispered. Chen studied his readings with wide eyes. "These structures are old. Incredibly old. The materials, the design. I am seeing technology that predates every civilization in our records. Who built them?" Vorith asked, his voice barely above a whisper. Alina stared at the ancient network. Whoever had built this had done so when the galaxy's oldest species were still young. They had built it here, hidden behind the boundary. And then they had disappeared. Or maybe they had just been waiting as the Unity moved deeper into the network. Lights began to appear. Small at first, then brighter. The ancient stations were waking up. Something had noticed them. Something was responding, Admiral Chen said slowly. "I am receiving a signal. It is... ... It is a welcome message. It says, 'We have been waiting for you to be ready.'" Elena felt a chill run down her spine. "Ready for what? Ready for who?" "Continue forward," she ordered. Carefully. The Unity sailed through the ancient structures. More lights came on. More signals were received. Somewhere ahead, something was waiting to meet them. Elena looked at her crew. Humans, Sindari, Kethvari, Voidwalkers. All of them together. All of them facing the unknown as one. 5 years ago, the galaxy had mocked humanity for buying a worthless ship. They had called humans foolish. They had said humans would never amount to anything. Now humans and aliens together were opening a door that had been closed for longer than civilization had existed. They were finding something that could change everything. And this was only the beginning. Alina smiled. Whatever waited ahead, whatever secrets the universe had been hiding, they would face it together. "Take us in," she said. "Let us see what they have been saving for us." The Unity moved forward into the light. Behind them, the boundary closed gently. Like a door that no longer needed to be locked, the next chapter of Galactic history had begun, and humanity would be there to write it.